Welcome to the Infor Education blog. My name is Jessica Melger. I'm with the Infor Education team. I'm an instructor. I teach a lot of the Infor OS courses as well as IDM, Business Vault, and Infor BI. Excuse me. In this blog post, we're actually going to cover some Infor document management with regards to the ION connection settings and triggering workflows. Within IDM, you do have the ability to manually trigger workflows from within IDM. IDM will then send a process workflow BOD to ION, which then will trigger the workflow. So some of the things that we need to consider before we do that, we do need to look at the integration between Infor OS and IDM. And with that, just kind of talking a little bit about what happens when we do the integration and things are flowing and things are connecting. An outbound operation typically begins when an IDM user creates or checks in a document. And at that time, a sync context document or BOD, an XML message, is then generated by IDM and placed in an area designated in the IDM message outbox. IDM can be configured to then generate the BOD when all the documents or only certain document types are created or checked in. Infor ION connects to the message outbox and retrieves the BODs from it. In Infor ION, application connection points are set up for each product. ION Connect routes BODs according to the document flows set up between those connection points. And if a flow is defined from another product to IDM, Infor ION retrieves the processed content document BODs from the sending product's message outbox and delivers them to IDM's message inbox for processing. And then IDM retrieves, validates, and processes the BODs. So there's a few things that we need to configure so that we do have that sending and receiving of BODs between IDM and ION. So going into IDM from our application menu, we can go straight into IDM. And from within IDM, we need to make sure that the configuration is there. All right, so from within IDM, we'll go to our hamburger menu that's going to give us our configuration area here. Once we get to the configuration, we need to get into ION configuration, and inside of ION configuration, you need to set your publish to ION as on. It will turn blue once it's on, and then you find your actual document type that you've already created and allow that to slide on to publish to ION as well. This will allow BODs being triggered by ION to submit to, or by IDM to be submitted to ION for processing. Also within this window, you'll see under this product image, there's this little icon here. This is actually for the workflow configuration. You can click on that and you can add a new one, or this one has already got it set up. So we know that we have to have an active workflow for it to be able to be triggered. And we actually got all of this information from the workflow that's been configured in ION Desk. You do have the ability to copy and paste. I do tell my students usually that the best way to make sure that you are calling out the proper workflow is to go into ION Desk, copy the workflow name, and paste it into workflow name in this configuration. And then this section up here is a status that is called out to let you know that the actual workflow has been started, or it completed, or it failed. And then these are actual workflow parameters that are mapping to the IDM values inside of the IDM document management. So once you get those, then you can go ahead and save that and close. So if we go into a document instead of IDM right now, I do have my active document flow, which I can show you really quickly in Ion Desk. So here is the workflow in Ion Desk that we are calling out. It's EDU Manual Task Workflow. So I can come in here and just quickly take a look at it. It's just one task in there, and I've assigned it to the INS04 user. We can log in as that user and get the notifications once we're done with the triggering the workflow. Also, inside of Ion Connect under document flows, you do have to make sure that you have your document flow active. There is an IDM to Ion, Ion to IDM document flow that gets imported when you do set up and do the installation of Infor OS. This one is for IDM to communicate to Mingle. It's just from IDM to Mingle so that we can publish documents there. You can look at the connection point if you want to. It just has an IDM connection point. We can go in there and take a look. So it's just pointing to our IDM server, and then we have our content documents that are defined in there. So what we're going to do is go back into IDM, and we're going to trigger a workflow from the document. So I'm going to search for my product image document, which is the one that has the workflow on it. Here is a product image document. This one doesn't actually have a preview on it. I think it was a blank document. That's okay. But up here is where you can actually start your workflow. So I can come in here, select my workflow, because you can configure multiple workflows for the same document. So you can configure another one. You would just select the correct one from the drop-down menu and click OK. And that is triggering the workflow. So if I log out right now of INS01, where I configured it, and log in as INS04, then I should have my notifications that show up. All right, so you'll notice now that we have one task listed in our user menu. We can click on tasks, and we'll show that we have the one task from the workflow that we kicked off. This one is set into a loopback, so as soon as you assign it to yourself and you click done, it will actually loop back. I think this one I can probably make a change and it might step out of the loopback. And click done. And I think it's still going to loop. Nope. Okay, so it did. So now in that one we have a notification. And that's it. So that's how you configure it to do that. You can come back in and turn everything off, and then you're good to go. But like I said, if you do need to, you can come in and you can configure additional workflows for each document. So if you wanted to do an additional one, say for product image, you would have to actually put in another document type, because you can only do here's another one. You can actually configure multiple workflows for each document type if you want, so you would have to come in here and create a new one if you wanted to. And you can also delete them. You do have the ability to delete them as well. So I hope you found that this was a useful recording, and look forward to hopefully having some of you in my IDM course. We do get a lot more detailed information in the course. If you're welcome to sign up for that in Infor Campus, as well as many other InfoROS and Business Vault offerings. Thank you. Have a nice day.